Welcome to this episode of our podcast. Today, we're diving into a fascinating tool called the ollama-deep-researcher. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information online, this might just be the assistant you didn't know you needed. So what exactly is the ollama-deep-researcher? At its core, it's a local web research assistant that empowers you to generate organized knowledge on virtually any topic. Imagine asking a question, and instead of sifting through countless articles, you have a dedicated assistant pulling together the most relevant information in a structured way. Sounds pretty amazing, right? Let me break it down for you. The ollama-deep-researcher takes a user-provided topic and then generates a web search query. This process uses any language model hosted by Ollama, which means it can really get into the nitty-gritty of a subject. It utilizes a web search tool, typically DuckDuckGo by default, but you can also use Tavily or Perplexity with the right API keys. Once the search results are in, it summarizes them. But that's not all. It doesn't stop there. The tool goes a step further by reflecting on the summary, actively looking for knowledge gaps, and generating new search queries to fill those gaps. This process can loop multiple times, refining the information until you get a comprehensive markdown summary, complete with citations. Now let's talk about practicality. Whether you're a student, a researcher, or just someone curious about a topic, the Deep Researcher can streamline your research process. It digs deep into multiple layers of information, so you get a more holistic view than you would by just scratching the surface. But how does one get started with the ollama-deep-researcher? Well, for Mac users, it's as simple as downloading the app, pulling a local LLM, and cloning the repository. Once you have it set up, you can pick your favorite web search tool, dive into your chosen topic, and visualize the whole research process. And for Windows users, the steps are largely similar, just adapted for your system. During the initial setup, you can create a virtual environment for your project, something I highly recommend. It keeps things organized and avoids potential conflicts with other programming projects. You just activate that environment, and off you go. And here's a little peek behind the curtain. The ollama-deep-researcher is inspired by a method called iter-drag. This clever approach breaks down complex queries into smaller parts. Think of it as taking a giant pizza and slicing it into manageable pieces. Much easier to digest, right? By now, I hope you see the potential for this tool. It not only saves time, but challenges our traditional methods of research, pushing us to think more critically about the sources we use. As we wrap up today's discussion, I want to leave you with this thought. How might your research habits change if you consistently had a tool like ollama-deep-researcher by your side? Would you venture into deeper topics that you previously avoided? Or maybe uncover insights that could lead to new projects or ideas? Thanks for joining us today to explore the ollama-deep-researcher. We hope this discussion sparks your curiosity to dive deeper into your own research with this innovative tool. Until next time, stay curious and happy researching.